Welcome back, everybody, to another video here on the channel. Today I'm joined with Matthew Pastrana, and we are going to be talking about the whole controversy between taking down Confederate statues. Obviously, with the latest Charlottesville incident, this issue has become a hot topic, and everyone's talking about it. So both of us, I think, Matt, you would agree that you defend keeping these statues for a variety of reasons, correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we both agree that it's important to keep these statues up, right? A common argument that you hear from people on the left, people that want to take these statues down, is, well, what are we supposed to tell our children when we walk past these and they ask, well, didn't he own slaves? Like, how can we live with ourselves, right? You've heard that before, right?
I've heard that a lot, and
A
it's
lot.
like one of these stupidest arguments I think could possibly have been made
Right, and
about these statues.
And a rebuttal to that would be, well, you tell them exactly what they did. You inform them of America's dark past and how we've overcome those problems. And how, yeah, that person did a lot of bad things. But he's part of our history, and he's part of the reason that we are where we are today. And so I think that's the biggest reason that we would defend keeping these statues up, correct?
Yeah, and as we talked about it earlier, every fifth grader got the lesson that if you don't learn history, you're bound to repeat it. And if we don't know all of the things that these people have done and know what we need to change in our civilization to become a better, more united front, we'll never be able to accomplish that without knowing how to fix the problems we've had before.
Yeah, that is exactly correct. Yeah, there's a lot of just keeping history. I mean, it's ironic. People always say, oh, Trump is Hitler. Trump is just like Hitler. But Hitler actually took down statues in Nazi Germany in order to try to rewrite history. Like, they say Trump's like Hitler, and then they go out and do exactly what Hitler did to try to erase history, and rewrite it because he didn't like the way that things have gone for Germany. He wanted to be the beginning of history and the beginning of the new Germany. So there's just a lot of irony in all of this.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you a lot. And I mean, besides the whole history part, if we forget it all, it's really just a truly waste of money. I mean, like, take the statue in North Carolina, for example, the statue that was knocked over. I mean, if the taxpayers had to pay for that, that would have been $25,000 lost for that. I mean, that's our money. That's the people's money that would be used to take down a statue, where money could be going towards public parks, public safety, so many other things besides something as silly as taking down a statue.
I know it's a big waste of time and money. For a lot of these statues, you were talking about it earlier, they're big statues, so you have to have a lot of construction equipment and workers working to take this down, and it's all just to make someone's feelings feel a little bit better. So there's a few stories that I actually want to talk about of examples where things have just gone so far out of the way. It's like there's no moderation here anymore. The first thing I want to say is, I was telling Matt before, there were two recent polls after Charlottesville that showed about 50% of Democrats want to remove Confederate statue. It was pretty much split in both the polls. So what that says, people, you can't say, well, most don't want that. That's just a small minority of people that want to take those down. Those are just the extremists. Well, no, according to multiple different polls, it's about half. So there are a lot of people that actually really want to take down these statues, and it's so surprising to me. What do you think about that?
I mean, some of these statues are iconic symbols for cities, even states. I mean, people come from different states just to see some of those statues because they're historic. They have true meaning. I mean, the General Lee, yes, he fought for the Confederacy, but he was a great general. I mean, for
That's
half the
true.
war, they almost won because he was such a great strategist. I mean, we can learn
Yeah,
a lot from what he did. I mean, he fought for the wrong side. Yes, I mean,
of
obviously, no
course.
one
Yeah.
wants to bring back slavery. It's not a thing anymore. But to take down a statue would be to take away every single thing he's ever accomplished, and he's accomplished a lot. No matter if it was bad or good, he still accomplished it.
Right, like you can't deny that, like, Hitler was an awful person, but from like a leader standpoint, like he knew how to move people. And I'm not siding with Hitler on anything. I know people are going to say, "Oh, he supports Hitler." No. But you can't deny that a lot of these bad people in histories were iconic leaders
I mean,
because a lot of them were.
yeah, I mean, every leader if it's a true leader, which a lot of even some of the worst leaders in the history of the world thought they were doing what was best for their people, and you have to appreciate the fact that they were just trying to do what they thought was right, no matter if it was wrong. By all moral obligations, it was still in their mind the right thing to do, and they
Yeah.
tried their very hardest to do it. And we have to remember that in their minds they were doing the right thing.
The fact that they, fought for what they believed in. So you talked about earlier, taking down statues of people. So Vice, which is a big online news, I guess, company or news program online, and they were actually suggesting that we blow up Mount Rushmore. They came out with an article called "Let's Get Rid of Mount Rushmore," and it was originally titled "Let's Blow Up Mount Rushmore." However, they changed the title because obviously it's a little extreme. So, I mean, the people on Mount Rushmore, those aren't even historically bad people.
I mean, they're some of the greatest presidents and just people in the U.S. ever to. I mean, they had some great ideas. I mean, our entire country without them might not be where we are today.
I agree. Yeah.
And that monument itself took about 14 years to build, I believe, and it was I think either in the 30 or 40s. And just considering what era it was, it's incredible what they were able to do with the tools they had, the knowledge they had.
Yeah.
I mean, it's truly an amazing statue or monument, if you will,
Monument, right.
for its size. It's I mean, I've never seen it, but I've always wanted to see it. It's truly incredible in my opinion.
Yeah. I've actually been there twice, and it's very impressive. And another example of that is there was actually a pastor who was calling for the removal of George Washington's name from a Chicago park. So, again, George Washington, people seem to think that these people's names and their statues are where they are because they own slaves. That's not the reason we celebrate George Washington. We celebrate George Washington because he was the first president who fought for our independence and was one of the founding fathers. That is why we celebrate George Washington. Not because he happened to own slaves just like every other person at the time, but because he did some great things for our country and he shaped the way things would go for the next, few centuries.
Yeah, and speaking on statues of presidents, another statue that has been recently been sadly just been destroyed is the Lincoln statue in Chicago, which was torched, which is kind of ironic because
It
Lincoln
is.
was the one who helped free the slaves during the Civil War. I mean, and he single like halfway through the war, he decided since the table started to turn in the North's favor, he said they would if the North won, they would abolish slavery. He is the reason that slavery got demolished when it did, and now they're trying to destroy his statues, even though he's single-handedly, well, not single-handedly, but responsible for demolishing slavery.
Exactly. He is a very iconic person in terms of civil rights. Probably you would say like the first major step for African Americans in America was from him. And it makes you just wonder like do the people that want to take down these statues really know exactly what they're talking about? Because I mean, the way they're acting would suggest that they don't. Wouldn't you say so?
I would totally agree because not only the Lincoln statue, but in Washington, D.C., the Lincoln Memorial, where Martin Luther King Jr. gave his speech, that that famous speech, has been vandalized so many times now because of these leftist ideas that statues are somehow bad and morally wrong.
Right. Keeping up these statues of people that were involved in slavery or had slaves. Okay, that's the thing people need to understand, is that was part of the culture. Okay, that doesn't mean it was okay, but everyone had slaves at that time. Are we just gonna have no statues of anyone at that time? Of course
I
not.
mean, yeah,
We have to have statues of iconic people that did great things. We don't have those statues, like I said, because they owned slaves. Right? We have those statues because they accomplished great things that shaped how America's history has gone.
I mean, yeah, and you made that great point about the pyramids in Egypt. Those were built by hundreds of thousands of slaves, and no one's crying about those.
I know. Are we gonna take down the Egyptian pyramids now? They're slave monuments. But I mean, I'm sure some people would probably suggest that. That's how crazy a lot of people on the left has gone. However, the one of the last few things I want to talk about here is in New York, the subway system is now planning on removing tiles that look like the Confederate flag. So I actually have an image of what it looked like. It's here on the screen now. So you can see this tile. I can see how it would look like the Confederate flag. However, the MTA came out and responded saying, no, this isn't a Confederate flag. We didn't mean to have it like that. It was meant to represent the crossroads of the world. Obviously the cross on the thing. And then the color scheme just happened to, match the Confederate flag, right? But the question you have to ask here is, are there any racists really taking solace from subway tiles in New York? Do you think the KKK is like, oh yes, they have tiles that kinda look like our flag? Yeah. No, like, of course not, right?
I mean, yeah, because like I can't like the fact that the left has succumbed to defacing statues and destroying them is just a sad fact. I mean, everyone, it's freedom of speech, yes, but everyone has the right to say their ideas and express their ideas. But to take it to this extreme, it's kind of sad because we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like the government has spent so much money creating these statues, so we have an image to look up to for some of the greatest American heroes of all time. And the fact that they're being destroyed is kind of sad because then we have to spend even more money replacing them or fixing them. And
Exactly.
really, it's costing everyone the same amount of money. And that's money that, once again, can be going to other places, not rebuilding statues.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just insane.
Yeah, I want to clarify something here because I know people are going to try to catch us on this. When we say American heroes, we're now talking about the people that weren't Confederate leaders. We're talking about like George Washington, how people want to take down
Yeah, yeah,
Mount
yeah,
Rushmore.
of course, yeah.
Those are who we're saying as American heroes. We obviously don't think people that died for slavery are American heroes, right? We still think it's important to keep their things up, their statues up. We just don't. We wouldn't classify them as heroes. You correct?
Yeah, no, I overlooked that fact. I'm sorry, but yes, you have. That's exactly what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. So see, my thing is, I'm not in favor of the money or the time of ripping down subway tiles that sort of look like something that might offend someone. Right? Like, everything is so sensitive now, and the best irony of all of this is how all I ever hear from Democrats is how tolerant they are. They're not tolerant at all. The second they see anything they disagree with, example, statues of anyone who owned slaves, or, for example, Confederate leaders, they're tolerant. Where does it go? It's not there in the first place. The left is not tolerant with anyone they disagree with. Right?
I mean, yeah. Bring it back to your other video. You talked about how we as a civilization, we ourselves need to change for the entire society to change, not the society has to change. And this is one of the left ways of trying to get the society to change by defacing these statues. Because they think if they take down the statues, society will stop worshiping these idols. But once again, like you said before, we have to. It's in ourselves to become better people, not try and make society better.
Exactly, right? You're not gonna all of a sudden, if you take down a Confederate statue, the KKK is not gonna be, oh gee, well he took down my favorite statue. I guess I can't be racist anymore.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
like it's really not gonna change anything, right? A few people might feel better about themselves, but at the end of the day, is it really worth the money, the time, and the value of teaching people that dark side of American history?
Yeah, I mean, it really isn't if you really think about it.
It's not at all. So that's all. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Well, thanks for having me on today. It's been a blast talking about it, and I look forward to doing more videos.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely have him back, as well as a lot of other people, for more videos. So that's gonna end it for today. Let us know whether you agree with us, disagree with us in the comments. Leave us a rating, and we'll see you guys in another video.